Hi, and welcome back to Scholastically Natalie. If you're interested in talking about books, writing, or D&D, this is the channel for you. If you enjoy this video, please leave a like and feel free to subscribe. That would be awesome. So, today I wanted to talk about the audiobook that I just finished listening to called, Unf Yourself, a little bit demonetizable there. But it's by Gary John Bishop, who has, written several other life coach books. And I think this is the first one that he wrote. Per usual, I did listen to it in audiobook format. I honestly don't remember if I just said that or not. It is a total of 3 hours and 23 minutes, so it's definitely one of the shorter ones that I've had. It's unabridged, and it is narrated by Gary John Bishop himself, which was quite nice. He's Scottish, which is amusing. Well, it was just nice to listen to, honestly. He has a pretty nice voice. I don't know why, but for this one, I ended up kind of like zoning out sometimes when I was driving around with it, which was weird because Marie Kondo didn't do that to me, and she was a bit of a less imposing voice. Like, Gary clearly is a little bit louder and a little bit like, hey, listen to me, I have things to talk to you about. It was definitely a very interesting tone change because both of the books were very encouraging in different ways. Like, they took different tact styles, whereas Gary was kind of like, hey, pull yourself together and realize that, like, not everything revolves around you. The Marie Kondo book was a little bit more like, well, as we look through all your stuff, you're probably going to find things that can help you feel better and help you join the present instead of wallowing in the past. So it's definitely just two very different techniques, which was very interesting to listen to back to back. So we're going to take a look at this summary. So, I can't say I love the way this is written. Okay, New York Times bestseller. Joining the ranks of the life-changing magic of not giving a frick, the subtle art of not giving a frick, you are a badass, and frick feelings, comes this refreshing, BS-free self-empowerment guide that offers an honest, no-nonsense, tough love approach to help you move past self-imposed limitations. Are you tired of feeling fricked up? If you are, Gary John Bishop has the answer. In this straightforward handbook, he gives you the tools and advice you need to demolish the slag weighing you down and become the truly unfricked version of yourself. Wake up to the miracle you are, he directs. Here's what you've forgotten. You're a frickin' miracle of a being. It isn't other people that are standing in your way. It isn't even your circumstances that are blocking your ability to thrive. It's yourself and the negative self-talk you keep telling yourself. In Unfrick Yourself, Bishop leads you through a series of 7 assertions. I am willing. I am wired to win. I got this. I embrace the uncertainty. I am not my thoughts. I am what I do. I am relentless. I expect nothing and accept everything. Lead the life you were meant to have. Unfrick yourself. And I can say that some of the things he talked about were, to be honest, things that I've kind of already slightly internalized. Maybe not spelled out the way that he had them spelled out, but they're definitely like things that I've thought about, which is like, you can't make your own expectations for the future and then be disappointed when life doesn't meet them or follow through on them, because that's something I definitely found myself. I'd like expect people to be a certain way or situations to turn out a different way, and then when they actually happened or when I actually got to know the person, I was always kind of like, oh, well, that's not what I expected. And like, it took me a little bit to kind of be like, well, it's very unreasonable of me to, expect these, opinions or beliefs or situations out of things that I 100% can't control. So that was nice hearing it from him. And his first chapter is very interesting because it talks about self-talk, which is, like the things you say in your brain to yourself, not even things you necessarily say out loud. It's kind of like things where you're like, oh, this is going to be a bad day, or like, oh, I'm dumb, or like, oh, I'm not going to be able to do this, or like, I'm not going to get this done in time. And he actually talks about how when you repeat those same things over and over in your brain, you're actually creating a pattern of thought that you are going to fall into more easily, and that by breaking this pattern, by maybe flipping the phrasing around to make it positive, so that instead of, oh, I'm never going to be able to get this done on time, you say, hey, if I work really hard, if I, devote myself to it, I am going to get this done on time. And ways to just make yourself realize that situations aren't as terrible as you think they are. This is something that I've known for, I want to say, like, since I was younger, that I've, like, never really, like, it's something that I internalized because of what I was doing at the time. When I was younger, I was doing gymnastics. And of course, I was not the best at it, but I also wasn't the worst. I was kind of, like, in mid-tier where I was, like, doing the things we needed to do by the time we needed to do them, but I certainly wasn't getting them faster, and I certainly wasn't behind, so it was just kind of like a mid-tier range. I certainly would not go to the Olympics for it. And we got to the point where we were learning to do, like, cartwheels on a beam, which, for those of you who don't know, it's about the width of the palm of my hand, which apparently is small, so like 3 to 4 inches. It's enough that you can put your palm onto it and then wrap your fingers around the edge, because you have to be able to mildly hold on to it to do cartwheels and back bends and such. And so the first time we were learning to do cartwheels, they of course do not put you on the beam that's like 3 to 4 feet off the ground. They put you on one that is, oh sorry, that's my metal water bottle, I tapped it. They put you on one that's like maybe 5 centimeters, not even that. It's enough that if you fall, you are not going to hurt yourself unless you manage to fall in like a very awkward position. So I remember doing that, and for some reason, whenever I was on a low beam, I just could not do a cartwheel. Like, I don't know why, I just could never do a cartwheel properly on a low beam. And like, I remember talking to somebody else in that class, and they're like, oh, I can't do it, like, I always fall. And I'm like, well, if you think you're going to fail, then you're gonna fail, because like the entire process of doing a cartwheel is unconscious. You do it enough that your body remembers it. So if you're thinking too hard about how exactly you do a cartwheel, you're never going to be able to do one, because your body knows what to do, your brain doesn't. And so then at one point, the 2 lower beams were full, and so our teacher was like, yeah, you'll be fine. Like, they have, like, like those foot deep mats that, like, if you fall on, you are not hurting yourself. And she was like, hey, get up there, let's see if you can do it, since you seem to just not be able to go through with it on the shoulder beams. And I was like, you know what, sure, man. So then I got up there and I did a cartwheel, and it was fine. And for some reason my brain went, hey, this is the time that means business, we're just gonna do it. And like, for some reason I could never do it on a shoulder beam. But a large part of that was because I had that safety net. Like, if I fall, I'm not going to hurt myself. If I fall, it doesn't mean anything. Like, this is just practice. And then when you're put on the spot and you're like, hey, you need to do this, you need to perform well, you really can't afford to have your brain go, oh, well, it doesn't matter. Oh, well, I'm not very good at it. Like, because once you kind of accept that the failure is inevitable, you aren't going to be successful. I have no clue if that was actually a helpful story or not, huh? Well, we're gonna move on. So I have some example quotes that can be good. There are some of the longer ones that I wouldn't be able to put, in like an Instagram story sweetly. So I have, you must first accept that while there are things that have happened in your life that you had no say in, you are 100% responsible for what you do with your life in the aftermath of those events. Always, every time, no excuses. And to be honest, this like really resonated with me too, because, I know that I've lived a pretty privileged life, but I have also, had some not so great things happen to me and had to deal with some not so great things over years of time. And it, like, a lot of my life was how I was responding to the situations that I was in, and even though, yes, I was a teenager, and scientifically teenagers have far less of control over their emotions and stuff, I still could have seen my beginning reaction and sought to change it. And while I definitely don't succeed all of the time, I do try to kind of like pause and think about why I say things if I know that, like, my emotions are getting riled up. Like, if I'm mad, like, am I saying something out of anger? Am I saying something out of a need to, like, understand? Which can still be taken as anger by other people, certainly. And so it's kind of a mix. I try not to, like, insult people when I'm angry. I just try to, like, hold back the instinctual, oh, screw you reaction, or like, oh, well, of course it's this other thing. That's the reason why I've done this. And, like, because you really can only control yourself during life. And if I spent every single day going, oh, well, I'm not going to get a job because, like, I didn't work enough during high school, so I'm never going to make enough money now. Like, because I didn't work enough during high school. Like, then I probably wouldn't have been trying to get a job as much as I was when I graduated. I was low-key a little bit desperate, so I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, please just give me a full-time job. And I ended up signing up for, like, a staffing agency, which got me my job really quick. And I probably wouldn't have signed up for that staffing agency if I hadn't gone, well, now's the time to, like, fix that and get a job and make enough money that I will be able to do things that I want to, instead of just kind of being like, well, I'll figure it out later, or like, yeah, because if you wait till later, you might not have time to figure it out. I don't know. I really like that quote. And then the second one I have is, if you took the time to be with what I'm saying, you'd realize that what causes most of your worry is trying to predict the future, and then refusing to accept things when they don't or aren't going to go your way. And I really like this quote because he's not saying that you can't worry about the future, or that you can't try to think about, like, what might happen in the future, but what really causes, like, anxiety and, like, true deep set unhappiness is when your expectations end up not matching reality. Like, I'm expecting to be able to move in with my best friend when she graduates this year. I'm expecting to be able to do that. But what I'm not going to do, if it ends up not being able to happen, is sit there and be like, well, now my life's just going to suck. Oh, well, I'm not going to be able to do this. Oh, well, clearly all the things that I've planned for me are never going to work. Like, or even just be like, no, I'm still going to move in with her, and then move in with her when I don't have enough money, and then end up leeching off of her, or, like, causing both of us to suffer just because I'm, like, rejecting reality, Like, there's a lot of different ways that could go wrong. So instead, I'm trying to work towards being able to do that, and being able to live with her when she's graduated, and saving up enough money to be able to do, like, down payments, and well, not down payments. I just got the return on this, and I don't remember what they're called right now. Security deposits. There we go. I couldn't remember the word. Okay, and, like, I need to save up enough for a security deposit. I need to save up enough for if we need furniture, to buy furniture, to establish items, like that sort of stuff. Maybe even buy a bed. Like, I don't know. So it's things that I need to ensure I can do and that I have the money for, and it's important to me to be able to do that. But if I end up not being able to do that, I can't, like, throw a fit, or, like, well, I can be disappointed, of course, but I can't dwell on that and be like, oh my gosh, now my life is going to be so much worse, or, like, I could have been doing this and instead I'm here. Like, I just have to make the best out of a situation, right? And I think that's really what he's trying to say, is just, like, you need to accept what life throws at you and try to think your way out of it in a positive manner. And of course, it's going to be hard. And of course, I'm not always doing that. I'm not always able to get my brain to be happy for me. And it's hard to get your brain to be happy for you, but sometimes you have to, like, work at it and fight it. And, if you have trauma, if you have things that are still there and haunt you, see a psychiatrist, see a therapist. You have to work towards that positiveness. If your brain doesn't give you enough dopamine or serotonin, you gotta go get that good store-bought serotonin. Like, you gotta take those steps to improve yourself instead of just kind of like being like, well, I'm stuck like this. This is not coming from a place of somebody who has it all figured out. In case you didn't hear earlier, I am working my first full-time job. I'm trying to get all my stuff saved up so that I can live with my friend when she graduates, and I'm on my way, but who knows what might come up in the future. But no, I definitely liked this book. Some of the stuff I felt was, a little bit trite, and that it's like, yeah, I think most people have heard that before. But sometimes it's good to have people say something to you. Oh, I keep fiddling with this water bottle. I need to stop. I'm sorry. But like, when you're in a kind of place where, even common knowledge to you just seems impossible and far off, sometimes you literally just need somebody to be like, hey, I like you. You are my friend and I value you. And this is how you need to do well. Like, I've had that. I need that from my friends sometimes. And sometimes even when I don't know I need it. Sometimes I'm like, oh no, I already know that you guys like me, like I didn't need that. And then like 3 days later, I'm like, thank you for telling me, because my brain immediately in the middle of the night was just like, nope, they don't like you. And so it was something I needed when I didn't know I needed it. And I think his book does that. It lines things up for you so that you're like, hey, I can do this. Hey, this guy's explaining it in a way that it makes sense. And I think that's the kind of book that everybody needs to listen to, or at least read once in a while, so that they can, have some more coping tools under their belt. But anyways, yes, that is about Unfreak Yourself by Gary John Bishop. I think it's definitely a good book. He's very understanding that everybody has different circumstances, but he's also very insistent that everyone can understand. Well, not understand, everyone can overcome and kind of like cope with the circumstances they have. And I don't know, that's kind of thing that I can get behind. So I would recommend this book. I definitely like the audiobook. His voice is pretty relaxing. It's nice to listen to. He's enjoyable. So thanks. I hope you enjoyed this book review. If you did, please leave a like or a comment if you didn't enjoy some parts of it. And feel free to subscribe if you're interested in hearing a bit more from me. Thank you. Scholastically Natalie, out.